Welcome everyone to our storage spotlight session. In this session, we'll talk about how do you turn your cloud storage into a business intelligence machine. My name is Nishant Kohli, a senior product manager for Google Cloud Storage. Here's the agenda. We'll cover some key topics, use cases for cloud storage. We'll highlight some key features, and then we'll do a deep dive on certain features like dual region, turbo replication, our storage insight service, and then we'll have a customer story with our Autoclass capability. Let's look at some core three pillars that we think about in any object store, and especially when we think about cloud storage. Simple, scalable, and secure comes to mind. Simplicity is something that we constantly thrive for our customers. Providing a consistent API and low latency across storage classes is a key differentiator for us. At the same time, easy to configure replication with automatic fail or failback really sets us apart from our competition. We really want to make that process quite simple for our customers. Next, we talk about scalability. We provide unlimited buckets and objects for all our accounts. At the same time, we provide great performance. Some of our customers are reaching terabits per second at the single bucket at exabyte scale. Wow, that's some scalability. Lastly, and not something that we think about least, is security. Security is at the heart of everything we do here. From the time we start our requirements to design to implementation, and continuously we think about how do we ensure that data security and security is at the heart of everything we do. Data is always encrypted at rest and in transit. And lastly, we provide huge transparency whenever data is accessed within Google ecosystem. So it gives customer control and authority anytime data has any accessibility from a Google team. So providing true transparency is also a key differentiator for us. On the left, you see key marquee customers that take advantage of our Google Cloud Storage. So let's talk about next some ideal use cases for cloud storage. There's three use cases really that come to mind for cloud storage, starting with content delivery. Cloud storage is ideal for low latency or in high QPS content serving, really providing users that are distributed across geographical regions access to the data. It's easy to stream audio or video directly to apps and website. Some of the content serving use cases might be streaming videos, images, websites, documentation, even video transcoding comes to mind. As I mentioned, some of the key marquee customers prior slide, you can see some of the key use cases that they take advantage of. Next, let's talk about AI and analytics. Also, machine learning. Ability to co-locate your compute and storage together for high throughput and low latency is quite critical for customers running analytical workloads. Cloud storage is strongly consistent, making it simple to run analytical workloads. Now, it might be easy to say, hey, we're strongly consistent. It is quite hard to actually achieve. Customers can really take advantage of our unique single namespace capability where data that's written and read immediately after gives you the latest version of the data no matter what. So the applications don't have to worry about when truly running in a true active environment. Lastly comes backup and archive, which is a huge use case. Providing low-cost archive storage with millisecond latency across the content, any content, is quite important. We also provide geo-redundancy options and provide a single consistent API to access all the data. We work with leading backup DR partners, third-party partners. Not only that, we also have our own first-party service for backing up data to cloud storage as well. Some of the key scenarios and use cases come to mind where data might be rarely accessed. There's movie archives that you're storing. You think about disaster recovery, maybe regulatory legacy data that you want to archive, and then tape replacement comes to mind for a use cases perspective. So let's dive into some key feature functionalities. There's four pillars that we prioritize our feature segment into. Enterprise readiness is one of them. We'll talk about some of these key features in details like turbo replication, dual region, and autoclass next. But let's talk about security and compliance. Having external key management integration is critical for our enterprise customers and give them the flexibility to bring their own management services, key management services, and integrate with cloud storage. Having integration across our own first-party services like BigQuery, and then being able to have end-to-end audit capability to ensure they can find out who accesses data when and where throughout from the application to cloud storage is a critical aspect. IAM deny is, again, a key functionality where customers can manage at an org level and ensure who can have access to what data and what buckets where and when. And then lastly, our cloud storage tags for buckets provide capability on security aspects and other policies they may want to apply org-wide. So it's really key functionality and control that our customers are looking for. Thirdly, we're looking at platform to be best analytical platform. So for that, performance comes to mind. We're constantly looking to see how do we improve our performance, not only from ingestion or data retrieval perspective, but other things like our listing performance. So we've done such things for our first-party services like Dataproc and Dataplex that take advantage of improved performance when it comes to listing. Secondly, we're looking to improve performance through our protocol layer by providing some key functionality to our Dataproc, Dataplex, BigQuery, first-party services, and eventually to our third-party applications as well, where they can take performance advantages and ensure they get the right price performance capabilities for our product. Now, lastly, we talk about ease of use, which is critical. We're constantly looking to see how do we make our product more intelligent and easier to consume. Soft delete and object versioning is one of those capabilities where customers can self-service in case of they have an accidental delete. Providing prefix and suffix support for our object lifecycle management service is critical. And giving that enhancement give customers more granular control when they want to do it themselves. Our storage insight service will dive a little bit deeper later into the content. And then our storage transfer service has made huge enhancements where now they can migrate data from any S3 compatible object store that might be sitting on-prem. That really helps our customers bring data from their on-prem environment into GCP or into Google Cloud Storage and giving them flexibility that they need and more power of our cloud storage capability. So let's dive into our dual region enhancement and turbo replication. Our customers are constantly looking for how do I get consistent performance and still meet my data redundancy and data availability needs? How can I ensure that in case of failure, applications seamlessly function and I don't have to worry about manually intervening and ensure that data is available to my applications? And how do I reduce my RPO and recovery in case of a failure when failure does happen? So for that, let's talk about our dual region enhancements. Now customers can select two regions of their choice and pin the data and co-locate compute and storage together, really providing the customers a true active namespace and not have to worry about fail or failback at the same time in case of a region failure. So think about now you have the flexibility and control of picking two regions of your choice within a continent, co-locate your compute and storage together, giving you a single namespace that's strongly consistent. So no matter where the data is being read from, you get the latest version and latest copy of the data. Lastly, turbo replication is a key functionality that provides our customers with SLA-backed 100% ensuring that data is replicated within 15 minutes from the time it was written. This really gives the customer the ease of use and at the same time the comfort the enterprise customers are looking for to ensure that data is always available in case of a failure. Now let's talk about our storage insight service. As our customers are growing and ingesting billions and trillions of objects, exabytes and petabytes and exabytes of storage, the challenges get bigger and bigger. So with our insight inventory reporting, now they can have a daily, weekly download of all their object metadata in a CSV or Parquet format. They can also access the data through an API, so you or partner can integrate with existing tools or into our own first-party services like BQ. And we'll talk more around that. Some of the key use cases are around, migration. Validating that once you migrated that data from on-prem or other location into cloud storage, that we were able to 100% migrate that data. So being able to have an inventory report of that at ease in either in daily, weekly format, that gives the customers the validation they need. They don't have to worry about impacting their performance on their existing workloads that might be running against that bucket. Next is auditing, which is similar, in regulatory or compliance places, customers are constantly looking at how do I provide audit of all my information, all my metadata, and everything that's stored in each bucket. Now with our insight service, they can run a daily report, provide that to their regulatory needs, or do routinely enforcement of their data governance policy based on these reporting. Our storage analysis dashboard and metrics become quite critical as well for infrastructure admins. Ability to have greater insight and then being able to pull these reports into BigQuery, for example, for analysis and create rich dashboards where they can then have better insight of understanding how applications are generating data, what type of data they're generating, and what the growth might be, giving them better control and ensuring that they can manage the costs better as they go along. And then next, let's talk about our Autoclass feature. Really comes to mind when people are thinking about how do I ensure my cost is managed? How do I ensure that data at rest and storage costs for unpredictable access patterns can be managed? And then lastly, is there an easier way to manage lifecycle of my data across the board? Well, the answer is yes. Now with Autoclass, we automatically transition objects to colder storage based on last access time. And then we can transition it back to standard storage based on access as well. This really provides the functionality that customers are looking for. At the same time, there's no early delete or retrieval fees, so data can be deleted at any given time. There are also no class transition charges when data is moved by Autoclass. So when data is moved by Autoclass, there are no charges to the customer. We ensure that data goes to the right storage class that meets the criteria as we mentioned here, and also meets the cost savings that customers are looking for. So this really summarizes all the key capabilities. Come join us next, talking to Ian, one of our customers from Redivis, on how they take advantage of this functionality. Joining us now is Ian Matthews from Redivis, one of our customers, a customer that uses Google Cloud Storage.
Thank you, Nishant. It's a pleasure to be here. So to provide a brief background about Redivis, Redivis is a data platform for academic research where we connect data managers who are distributing rich data sets with their research community. We provide mechanisms for the data managers to curate these data sets, to define access rules to help distribute the data. So we have everything from highly restricted health information to fully public data sets that researchers can access. Alongside tools for data managers to understand how researchers are using their data sets and which data is most relevant to different research use cases. In turn, we connect researchers with the tools to discover, to understand, combine, and analyze these various data sets that exist on the platform in a way that allows them to leverage scalable and user-friendly tools to help them bring their analysis closer to their data. This is all built exclusively on Google Cloud. For much of Redivis's history, we were really focused on tabular data, which we were storing within BigQuery and providing interfaces for researchers to interrogate those data via BigQuery SQL, as well as a graphical interface. But just recently released support for non-tabular data on Redivis. So basically any file can now be uploaded to the platform. And this is obviously backed by Google Cloud Storage, which now includes Autoclass, a feature that we're really excited about.
That's amazing to see that you're, going all in cloud storage. So let's talk about Autoclass as a feature. Can you kind of share with us what are the key things that you took as a takeaway as part of our private preview?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously Autoclass is kind of a set it and forget it feature, but it enables, I think it really kind of shifts paradigms in the research domain. So one of the biggest challenges in the data sciences and in research in general is around reproducibility, right? I do my study, I do all sorts of interrogations of the data, I publish my results, and then maybe nobody looks at it for several years, but we want 5 years from now somebody who discovers that paper to be able to build on those findings, to validate them and to perform new novel research. And if the data are no longer there, we can't do that. And obviously cost factors into this, right? It's expensive to keep data sitting around for 5 years when nobody's working with them. So we really want mechanisms that allow us to put the data in the coldest, lowest cost tier of storage during that period of inactivity, while maintaining the accessibility of the data when we do want to work with them further.
No, that's great. And, like you mentioned, cost, simplicity are some of the key factors, and then avoiding any surprises and when you do have to access that data. So it sounds like Autoclass meets all your needs. And can you share, what do you think, based on your current estimate, how much of this data that you think would be managed under Autoclass?
Absolutely. Obviously, it's a bit of a back of the envelope calculation, but as I mentioned, research kind of follows these patterns of like short periods of high intensity interrogation and then long periods of not working with data. And I honestly think, looking out 5, 10 years from now on Redivis, it would be a conservative estimate to say that 90% of our data would be covered by kind of some reduced cost storage tier by Autoclass.
I know that's amazing to hear. And thank you for your partnership so far, and really looking forward to working with you and then making Autoclass a production feature for you. So thank you very much for the conversation.
Thank you so much, Nishant. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. So thank you everyone for joining us. And up next, hear from Manu Batra as he talks about best practice running great stateful workloads in GKE.